Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanallahil Azim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. Innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma ja'alna du'atan ilaik wa ila rasulik amma ba'd. فقد قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الدين النصيحة صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين ومن الشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. First and foremost, we give praise and thanks to Allah, and Allah is deserving of all praise and all thanks. We testify that Allah is one. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And we testify that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the seal and the last of all the prophets. May Allah continue to shower His mercies and blessings upon him, upon his household and his faithful companions. It is a great ni'mat and a great bounty from Allah that Allah has instilled within our hearts the quality of Iman, the quality of Ma'arifah, the quality of recognition, that we are able to recognize that Allah is one, that we are able to recognize that Allah alone deserves to be worshipped, that we are able to recognize that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the seal of the prophets, and there are no other prophets to come. That we are able to recognize that the Quran is the book of truth. It is the final revelation that was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam within a period of 23 years. That we are able to recognize that the only accepted way of life in the sight of Allah is Al-Islam. And whoever chooses any other way, it will not be accepted from him. That we are able to recognize that one day the angel of death will come, he will snatch us and he will take us within the earth, and one day we're going to be raised back to life. That we are able to recognize that no matter what we did on the face of the earth, one day we will have to stand before Allah and we will have to give an account for how we spend our life on the earth. These are all ni'mats from Allah. These are all bounties and favors from Allah, that Allah has instilled it in our hearts. Allah has opened our hearts and placed that gift of ma'rifah, that gift of recognition, that we are able to recognize all these things that was just mentioned here. When we look at ourselves and we look at many people besides us, we will see how many people have not recognized that Allah is one. They have not recognized that it is only Allah should be worshipped. They have not recognized Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the seal of the prophets. They have not recognized Al-Quran as the book of truth. They have not recognized that one day they're going to die and they're going to be raised to life again. That they have to give an account to Allah. They have not recognized it. As a matter of fact, they have believed in something else. They have a different purpose and meaning to what life is. We are counted from amongst the most favored and blessed of Allah's chosen servants. And this is why we can't thank Allah enough for that. As we go along life, sometimes we forget duties. Sometimes we forget responsibilities. And this is why every Friday, Allah reminds us in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, idha nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ah, fas'aw ila dhikrillah. O you who believe, Allah is addressing you and me, the believers. When the call is made on Friday, hasten to the dhikr of Allah. Hasten to the reminder. Hasten to the dhikr, the remembrance of Allah. Wadharul bay, leave your trade, leave your business, leave off traffic. Dhalikum khairul lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. Because that is best for you if you only knew. It is best for you if you only knew. So this is the reminder. And we need to be reminded time again. The first reminder is to myself. Al-Mutakallim. The one who speaks is the one who is reminded first. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has instructed us. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينَ. That our duty is nothing other than to do what? Than to spread and convey the clear message. And that is what it is. Islam, Badal Islam Gharib, it started strange. وَسَيَعُودُ Gharib, it will return in a strange manner. People used to worship idols. They did not know about Allah. They had forgotten who Allah is. They worship so many different things that they call gods. They did so many different things that they will even walk around the Kaaba. Walk around the Kaaba in a state of nakedness, with no clothing on. Women had no rights at all. Little girls' holes were dug and they were buried in that. Where was Islam then? There was no Islam then. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the age of 40, Jibreel alayhi salam comes to him in cave, the cave which is called Ghari Hira, the cave of Hira, and he says to him, Iqra. Read. We know the whole story. It was at this point the first revelation came, and this revelation made him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Nabi of Allah. Life started to change. A new message. A new message. A different pull. A pull away towards a pull to. Away from towards to. Away from all the different gods towards one Allah. A new system. A system of purity. A system of cleanliness. A new mode, a new code, a code of 5 times salah. A system of paying zakah. That when a month comes, we will have to keep fast. And if we are able to do it, then we will perform hajj. New things. How to live with mothers. How to live with fathers. How to treat them. What are the duties and rights of the sons and the daughters, the parents and the children, the husband and the wife, the brothers and the sisters, the laws of inheritance, everything. It changed. It changed. So much so that if a person said, La ilaha illallah, his life was in jeopardy. You had to watch your back. Because you can lose your life for it. A total change in the society. Where the women were naked, now they had to dress differently. Subhanallah. Every single thing changed. So Islam started in a strange way. We started to see strange things happening. Things that the Sahaba started to do, it was strange for them. They didn't understand it. Masajids were built. Different masjid were built. Rules and regulations for the masjid. The etiquettes, the adab. Adab for toileting. Etiquettes for using the toilets. Etiquettes before we sleep. Etiquettes for eating. Before, eat anyhow. Drink anything. Eat anything. Drink anything. Now everything is changed. How to eat? That is a challenge. Because before we could have eaten anyhow. But now, there's a particular way to eat. There's a particular way to use the washroom. There's a particular way to perform salah. Every single thing changed in the life of the people in Arabia. So Islam started strange. But sometimes we forget. So this is why we are reminded. I was going through some books. In a book called Miftah, written by one of the great Mufassir of Quran. One of the greatest Mufassir commentators of Al-Quran. Subhanallah. A person by the name of Imam Qurtubi. One of the greatest commentators of Quran. His commentary of the Quran is fantastic. Many of us, we know about Imam Jarir al-Tabari. We know about Hafiz ibn Kathir. We know of Tafsir Madalik and Ma'alim. We must have heard of Ma'arif al-Quran. Many different tafsir. Tafsir Usmani. But this tafsir, this commentary of Quran, Imam Qurtubi, marvelous. He writes in his book about something which is called the Adab for the Masjid. The etiquettes of the Masjid. And it is something that we need to understand. It might sound strange, because perhaps we would have forgotten, or maybe we just didn't know. So for a reminder for myself, and a reminder for you, he says, from amongst the etiquettes of the masjid, he have listed, he says, one should not carry out any business transaction in the masjid, whether it be through telephone or otherwise. One should not carry out any form of business transaction in the house of Allah. That's the first thing you have on the list. So we have to understand when Allah says leave trade and leave business and hasten to the remembrance of Allah, what it is we really coming here for. What it is we really coming to the masjid for. Secondly, one should not draw weapons in the masjid. Don't pull no sword for nobody. No ice pick, no hammer. Don't pull out no wood, no guns. Don't draw no swords for nobody. And the greatest weapon right now in the masjid is this thing between the jaw. Between the jaw. That tongue. Don't draw weapons in the masjid for nobody. Because these precincts are sacred. This is why the Quran says about Baytul Sharif, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. Whoever enters the masjid, then he will find peace and security. Today people running out from the masjid because you know why? They're not safe. They're not safe in the masjid. That is where people looking for them. In the mosque. Inna lillah. 3. No announcement should be made for lost items. I remember just recently somebody had lost something, and I just out somebody, as I made salam, somebody came and said, Imam, look, this person, and I just, out of not being conscious, and Sheikh Saeed Adam was here. He said, Imam, la yajuz. That is not permissible. That somebody lose a ring, or they misplace a key, or they lost a watch, or they put it somewhere. Whose watch is this? $200? Not for the masjid. That is not permissible in the house of Allah. Do not raise your voices in the masjid. Do not raise your voices in the masjid. This has become the norm. Some interpret this two ways. Some say quarrel. Some say quarrel. And some say just old loud talk. That a man performing salat here, but two fellas sit down in the back, and it's just old talk, old talk, old talk. Just talk. Yeah. A man on his cellular phone down the road there, and he sit down in the back. Yeah, boy, yeah. And he's just talking, and a man reading Quran. Not for the masjid brothers. Not for the masjid sisters. These are not my words, mind you. The great commentator of Al-Quran, Imam Al-Qurtubi, from amongst the great Mufassir, pious, righteous servant of Allah. He says, do not discuss worldly affairs in the house of Allah. Not inside here. This is not the place for it. He says, do not climb over one another's shoulder to come to the front. You know, sometimes you see that? People running late. They're running late and they will climb over everybody to come and squeeze in front. And that is another point, he says. Don't force yourself into a row, making the others uncomfortable. You squeeze up because you say, shaitan, shaitan. Shaitan, you don't want shaitan to get in the space. But shaitan done in your mind. Shaitan in your mind, but you study in the space. And I'll tell you why I say shaitan in the mind, because this is leading to something else. All these are things for the masjid. Do not cross or walk in front of people when they perform in salah. A normal thing. We put some things in the back there. We call them sutra. To put in front of you when you're praying. Sometimes people stand up right in front of the door. So as a man walking in the door, you walk in front of him. Sometimes people don't know, just ignorant. And they will still walk in front of somebody praying. Don't do that. It is from the etiquettes of the masjid. Avoid spitting and cleaning your nose and digging your toenails and your fingernails, biting it inside the masjid. When I say spitting, don't spit in the masjid. See a man take out that kerchief and he spit inside there and he blow his nose inside there and he push it back in the pocket. You don't even know if it really enter the kerchief. Don't do that in the mosque. Go out in the taps. They're biting the nail and spitting it out. Digging their toenails. Digging their ears and wiping it on the wall. Not for the mosque. Them things sound jokey. It's real. No eating in the masjid. No eating in the masjid. You need to spread something. Like what we call a dastakan. A man bringing a hand of fig yesterday. And just had to peel and eating in the house of Allah. Just so. Because if a man just take care of the mosque. Ramadan, a man bringing a snow cone and put it in front. I was wondering if he had hit down that snow cone, what would happen? These are not things permissible in the masjid. Do it outside. Outside, you could sit down there, you'd have room for it. Avoid cracking your fingers and your toes when you sit down in the masjid. When you see somebody reading Quran and you enter the house of Allah, don't greet them with salams because they are engaged in ibadah. Find yourself and perform at least 2 rakats. Perform 2 rakat. Sometimes they come in the mosque, a man praying, a man performing salat, a man reading Quran, one doing zikr, and you walk in and you say, Assalamu alaikum, and nobody respond. Nobody respond. And you get hot. You get vexed. Because I give salams and nobody respond. It is not from the adab. It is not from the etiquettes of masjid. Avoid playing inside of the masjid. Imam Qurtubi, he says, whoever abides by these has fulfilled the rights of the masjid. Whoever abides by these has indeed fulfilled the rights of the masjid, and it will be a place of security and protection for him against shaitan. It will be a place of protection and security for him against shaitan. One of the students of one of the great Sahabi of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, his student, he said, one who is seated in the masjid, one who finds his place in the masjid, he is actually seated in the company of Allah al-A'la. He is actually seated in the company of Allah, the Most High. This is adab, etiquettes for the mosque. Etiquettes for salah. You don't go into a posture before the imam. Imam Bukhari alayhi rahmah has brought a lot of ahadith on anyone who performs a salah preceding the imam. Sometimes imam know each one salat and one salam and you done two. Before the imam goes into ruku, you done in ruku. Before he comes up, you come up already. This is not the adab for salah. And before salah is where the point is heading to. Because you see, everything is linked. But I took it backwards. Before salah is al-wuzu. Wuzu. As simple as it is. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. The Quran addresses those who believe. Idha kumtum ila salah. Understand the Arabic language. When you stand for salah, faghsilu wujuhakum. Wash your faces. Wa wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq. And wash your hands until the elbows. Hear the ayat. O you who believe, when you stand for salah, wash your faces and your hands until the elbow. You understand that? The word kumtum is used. Idha kumtum ila salah. From qama yakumu, to stand. It means that you're already standing for salah, and now the Quran is saying, wash your face and your hand. Literally, that is what the Quran is saying. But it doesn't mean that. إِذَا كُمْتُمْ إِلَى صَلَاةٍ يعني إِذَا أَرَدْتُمْ الصَّلَاةِ. When you have intention to perform salah, first thing you have to do is what? Make wuzu. Make wudu. That is what it means. The Arabic language is beautiful. Wash your face and wash your hands until the elbow. In other words, not ilal marafiq. Inclusive of the elbow. Inclusive. Wamsahu bi ru'usikum, and wipe your heads. Wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn, and your feet towards the ankle, inclusive of the ankle. It doesn't mean wipe the feet. It means what? Wash the feet. Wash the feet until the ankles. You see, wuzu, just like the masjid have etiquettes and adab, wuzu also have etiquettes and adab. And I'll tell you something about the etiquettes and adab of wuzu. Wuzu is the first step towards performing salah. If you don't have focus over there, believe me, your focus in salah will be off. It will be off. Sometimes we sit to make wudu. One of the things to be avoided in wudu, according to Imam An-Nawawi, the great Shafi scholar. This is not Hanifi fiqh. the great Shafi scholar, Imam An-Nawawi, whose book is studied in all madaris, Al-Arba'in, 40 ahadith. In all the madaris, he is well known, world renowned from amongst our pious predecessors. He says, talking while performing wudu is something that is not preferred when making wudu, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his sahaba never did that. Focus on what we are doing. Talking and laughing and being loud. Just yesterday, I had to tell some brothers, people praying, and the kind of noise that's coming from outside there, with the laughter, I had to say, brother, that is not permissible. He said, talking is not permissible. Where your dalil? It's not that talking is not permissible. It's that kind of talking. That kind of talking. So if a man teaching another man to make wuzu, and you will say, wash your hands 3 times, wash your feet, rinse your nose, and you have to talk. You have to talk. It is allowed. But not that kind of talking. Sometimes you're making wuzu, and you know what you're doing there when you're talking and laughing and playing is you're wasting water. And that is not permissible in Islam, to waste water. Says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even if you're at a river bank where the river is flowing and you're making wuzu there too, don't waste the water. Could you imagine that? You're making wuzu, you wash your hand and you crack a joke, and the water running. There. Some brothers know what we're talking about. So I'm saying desist from doing that. Umar radiyallahu ta'ala, ma minukum min ahadin yatawadza fa ahsan al-wudu. There is none from amongst you who performs wuzu, and he performs his wuzu in an excellent manner. Hear what muhaddithin. You see, we only read translation. What I'm telling you here is commentators of the hadith who have broken down the hadith and explained the hadith. What does it mean when they say, for ahsan al-wudu, and they have made their wudu excellent? It means that they have implemented the etiquettes of performing wudu into their wudu. There are sunnah things in wuzu, there are fard things in wuzu, there is mustabihat in wuzu, things that are mustahab, and there are also things that we call makruhat, which are disliked. Dislike. You see that old talk? That is disliked in performing wuzu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this hadith, whoever makes wuzu, and he makes his wuzu in an excellent manner, and after he finish, he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, Allahumma ja'alni min at-tawabin, wa ja'alni min al-mutatahhirin. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Futihat lahu abwabul jannah al-thamaniya. Then the 8 gates of paradise are open for that person. The 8 gates of paradise are open for that person. Yadukulu min ayyi hasha. He will be able to enter through anyone he wishes. Enter through any one of the gates. This is a simple act. We call it what? Wudu. It is not haram to communicate. No. It is not haram to have a conversation, no. But it is not from the adab of wudu. As wudu is a preparation for salah. A preparation for salah. Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an, he says, whoever performs wudu from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he performs it correctly, observing all its requisites, kharajat qatayahu min jasadihi, the sins from his body comes out hatta takhruju min tahti azfarihi, until it comes out even from beneath his nails. This hadith is mentioned in Sahih Muslim. As a matter of fact, the 2 hadith, Sahih Muslim. when they make wuzu and you are conscious about what you are doing, you are focused on what you are doing, then these are the rewards that are there waiting for us. If we are not focused in performing our wudu, then brothers and sisters, we will find it difficult to focus when we stand up and say, Allahu Akbar. Look for yourselves and you will see. When we come into the masjid, sometimes when the adhan is being called, it's just talk. Throughout the wuzu, it's just talk. We come inside the masjid, it's talk. And when the muazzin is calling the iqamah, it's talk. The only time we probably stop talking is when the imam says Allahu Akbar and he reach somewhere down inside the surah. Then we stop talking. We don't stop at that point because we're trying to cut the conversation. We're trying to cut. And as-salamu alaykum finished. Talk. Man samata najah. Man samata najah. The one who guards his tongue and keeps it silent, he will become successful. That talk shouldn't be. We should wait. Because this is only a few minutes. This is once a week. Salat is about 10 minutes. Why are we wasting our time? The rewards are there. It's waiting for us. Let us not throw it away. Let us not waste it. It is stated that it is also disliked when we are performing wudu. We see people taking the water in your hand and slapping it on the face. That is not light. It is something from amongst the acts of makruh. Wash your face gentle, because I'll tell you something. Every single limb that you wash, the face, it takes away the sins of the eyes. The ears, it takes away the sins of the ears. The hands, it takes away the sins of the hands. Every single part of the body, sins are being removed. This is not a physical thing. Wuzu is not a physical thing. Wuzu is a spiritual thing. It is a spiritual act of ibadah. So much so that if we don't do it and we don't have it, we could perform all the salat. We have none. We have none. So the message to myself and to you, let us try to observe the etiquettes. The etiquettes in regards to the things that we have to observe. Whether it be eating, we have etiquettes for it. Whether it be leaving our homes, we have etiquettes for it. When we enter the masjid, we have etiquettes. Everything has etiquettes. When we go to the qabristan, the cemetery, there are etiquettes. People say hadith, sunnah, yes, dalil. No, there are etiquettes. And the fuqaha, the jurists, they have laid down that these are not no man-made laws. No man-made laws. Islam is a way of life. Islam is a way of life that has been prescribed. Every single thing has been noted in the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How he will do it. And we too, we have to follow in that way. So I urge myself and I urge you also. Anytime we find people behaving in that manner, give them a little reminder. Brother, this is not the way. Let us make the wuzu quick and come and sit down in the mosque or perform 2 rakat salat. You know 2 rakat salat after wuzu? You know where is that? That is a place in Jannah. That is what Bilal radiallahu ta'ala used to do. Every time he performed wuzu, he would perform 2 rakat. Even the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, what it is that you do, that I heard your footsteps in front of me in Jannah. And he said that every time I perform wuzu, I would perform 2 rakat salah. So let us try to do that. Every time we make wuzu, focus on our akhirat. Focus on Jannah. Because this is a treasure. It is a ni'mat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah has given us the ability to recognize. And this is the lifestyle of the believer. May Allah guide us. May He guide me. May He guide you. May Allah show us truth as truth, falsehood as falsehood, and may Allah guide us towards the truth. Wal akhir da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.